Hey, oh, well, there we are. Hey, welcome to No Load Time, episode 68. My name is Jose Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
Yo, 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 good to be with y'all back here in episode 68 of No Load Time. Obed, we've got some Spidey news today, so I'm excited as always, but it's going to be a good episode regardless, but Spider-Man makes me more excited.
Yeah, Spidey news, Superman news, PS5-ish news.
Oh, yeah.
And a little bit of a controversial topic here that we're going to talk about. Joel, NBA season started. How you feeling?
Feeling great. Love watching basketball.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff happening there, too. So it's going to be a season full of surprises, I think.
I love sports. It'll be on my TV a lot.
Go City Sports. Joel, anything new? Anything that you've watched recently? What's up, dude?
Well, I actually spent time watching the Green Arrow. Just because I'm gonna say Green Arrow. The show's called Arrow, guys, but for me, it's Green Arrow because that's his comic book character name.
It is the Green Arrow.
It is.
Yeah.
I've watched the first episode of the new season, and I'm really fascinated with the direction they're going. For those of you who watched last season, you know that it ended on a pretty intense note of Oliver being sent to prison. He was going to jail, taking a guilty plea, so that way the rest of his friends could be indemnified. Not be arrested as well, right? Taking the fall. And with all that happened, I quickly got the assumption based off some of the trailers. You saw the trailer for the new season, but I quickly got the assumption that a lot of the season was going to be spent of him being in prison. And as I watched the episode, I said to myself, this is actually not bad, the direction they were going. But I said he better not be in prison any more than 5 episodes, or else it's a waste of a season. That was my response watching, and me, Obed, my rule of 3. I give it a little bit of time, and as I'm watching the episode, I'm not gonna give away too much of a spoiler, but they quickly start to set it up in a way that I'm like, okay, I don't even think that 5 episode thing is even gonna be a problem. It seems like they're going in the right direction, and the cool thing too is if you look at the appearance of the actor, which Stephen Amell's very committed to his role. He actually grew out a nice full goatee, just like he has as the Green Arrow in the comics. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to see where this season goes.
Yeah, interesting. CW stuff. It's like I really fell off. I have no intention of jumping back in. Although we can talk about that in a minute. There's definitely some news happening there. But on my side, Joel, 2 things of note. Got to finish Kingdom Hearts 2 over the weekend, and that was pretty great. I really enjoyed it. I forgot how it's not necessarily hard, but a bit challenging the game gets towards the end, especially if you're under leveled. I was right there at the recommended level to go into the final stage, but even after that, I went back and did some more grinding because I was like, you know what, this is not working the way I planned. So went back, did some grinding, finished it. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is great, man. I can't wait for 3. But talk about improved sequels. That's like way above and beyond compared to KH1. Definitely a worthy improvement there. Any other thing of note, I actually finished Gundam Unicorn, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it so much that I actually bought a figure. It's not here yet. It's not here yet, but I really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Wing Gundam, or Gundam Wing as it's known here, and I liked Gundam Wing quite a bit. I still have the DVD for Endless Waltz around here somewhere. It should be probably down at the bottom. And I really enjoyed it, and that's one of my fond memories from the 90s is watching Gundam Wing. I think Unicorn is just way better. It's like so good, and the characters are so good, and everything is Man Tears. dude. It's like it's been a while. It's been a while. I was rattled, Joel. I was rattled. And it was really good. It was really good. So again, I loved it so much that I actually wanted like I need to get me a figure because that's how you pay respect to those things, right?
Nice.
But other than that, nothing too crazy. Halloween's coming up, so I think I'm gonna pop in Resident Evil 4 and play that over the weekend. Yeah,
just is that your annual playthrough, right?
No, my Castlevania Symphony of the Night is my annual playthrough. But I'm waiting for it to come out on PS4. It comes out next Friday, I think, the 26th.
Worth the wait.
Yeah, same day as Red Dead. So R.I.P. Castlevania. But I'm waiting for that. RE4 I haven't played since. Oh man, I want to say 2016, maybe 2015. Whenever the PS4 version came out, and that was the last time I played it. So I'm looking forward to just diving into RE4, man. One of my favorite ever. So,
gotcha. Nice.
Yeah, good stuff, Joe. And let's start with Superman since we talked a little bit about CW here. They're doing what WB did not dare to do during Justice League, and it's actually putting the black suit on Superman.
Yeah, I saw the full photo of him in the full suit. I mean, it's for sure happening, and I know, Obed, I've talked about in Justice League, multiple people have said, hey, the black suit was going to be in this movie. There's never been any photos or anything, but people have said that it was going to be in the movie at some point. So it's amazing to see that on a television show. I'm not gonna say they got it right because I haven't seen the show, and it's obviously very different and not fair to compare. But what's interesting is the fact of it is the source material of Superman coming in the black suit. I'm curious to see how the adaptation is going to be for CW, just because. Is it a resurrection type of thing? Is it just so happened that he's just going to be wearing this traditional Kryptonian black suit, that you see? There's a lot of different possibilities, but interesting that they're going to be going there on their TV show. It's an Elseworld setup that they have going on for their crossover. So, and they actually confirmed yesterday because Stephen Amell tweeted out that he's going to be in the Flash costume and Barry Allen's going to be in the Green Arrow costume. They're going to switch in this Elseworlds. So it's fascinating. But Superman in the black suit, and then on top of that, but I don't know if you heard as well today that they also confirmed Luthor coming to Supergirl. So they're really doing some stuff there, Obed.
Yep, and there's very strong rumors that they're actually going to spin off Superman into its own series.
That makes sense. If you're going to put Luthor in the show, you already have Superman. I could see that. Now, honestly, am I crazy about the Superman? No, I'm really not crazy.
Yeah.
I actually watched it purposely. It's the first episode and everything. And, I mean, it's not, terrible. It's just not super. But regardless, I think what's interesting about it, you have Superman on TV, and I consistently say this. I know that Berlanti has been asking for Batman for him to be allowed to touch Batman. Batwoman is obviously going to be coming to the screen also with this crossover event. So I think sooner rather than later we will have Batman on the small screen, and I would watch that on a weekly basis if there's a legit. I'm not talking about Gotham, guys. I'm not talking about this Penny, Alfred
the
show
Alfred
that's
prequel, yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a legit Batman weekly show. I would tune into that. So interesting to see what the CW does. I'll be keeping my eyes on this.
Yeah, man, I totally forgot about that. Alfred, or what they're calling it, Pennyworth, right?
Pennyworth, yeah.
Prequel to Alfred.
The young Alfred.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're coming up with these things, but talk about something that I fell off real hard too was Gotham, man. I think I lasted a season and a half. I watched the first season, I enjoyed it, but then after the second season, it's like, oh, this is getting kind of weird. And I enjoyed it. I think it was actually pretty well done. So, kind of disappointing.
Good cast and all that, just wasn't Batman. So
yeah,
that's my opinion.
Did you ever get to watch any of the Lois and Clark when it was on TV?
Yeah.
Well, you're probably too young to remember.
I actually watched all of that, and that's why It's funny how Superman, how there's so many different depictions. I'm saying with Batman, there's different depictions of him, but I believe when you watch stuff like that, Lois and Clark, and some of these other ones, like it shows you like there is a possibility to have him on the smaller screen. Like there can be
Yeah,
a good Superman on your weekly television series, and
because it
still
wasn't
be
bad.
good. That's what
Yeah,
I thought. That was fine.
yeah, it wasn't
Smallville, on
bad.
the other hand, that was not a good show. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
real with you. There was stuff about it that was interesting, but you're lying to yourself if you're saying that's a great Superman show. It was its own
yeah.
thing, and it's very unique.
I think Smallville had like the first 5 seasons were pretty good. After that, it really fell apart when they started doing like really bringing in other like Superman bad guys and all that stuff. I think that got kind of weird. I think it should have ended at like around season 5. It was like it was 10 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, and I remember a season. I think it was 8, both 8 and 9 was just unbearable. That was talk about bad TV.
Yeah, that's
It
what I'm
was
saying. Like,
it's not good.
it's not great. So my point being, like, it's possible to have a solid Superman on the smaller screen, but I'm not crazy about this one Superman, that they have on CW. But I'll give it a chance if it's a weekly show.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes. Joe, Spider-Man. It's a game that's out. It's also a movie that's coming out. Spoiler alert for
Yep.
Infinity War.
Yep.
But Joel, we got some pretty good set photos of what the new suit's going to look like. Because apparently filming wrapped up, and they actually released like an official like wrap up picture of the suit, and looks a little bit looks similar but different.
Yeah, so where you had the blue on his suit, they've made it more of like a black in the way it appears in these photos. It's set photos. There could be CGI to change that up a bit. I'm not going to say this is the end shot, but from what we've seen, and even Tom Holland's been posting these photos with himself on set, it looks like this upgraded Spider-Man suit, as well as another suit that we also saw in some set videos of both Spider-Man and
Mysterio.
Mysterio. For some reason, I was gonna say Magneto, and I'm like, that's not right. Not yet, guys.
You know what was coming out to me was Sinestro. And it's like, totally, that's totally the wrong franchise and the wrong universe.
But shoot, Magneto would have been something, but Sinestro showed up. I would have flipped my popcorn in the theater.
That's really far fetched.
But anyways, the set photo showing Mysterio and Spider-Man. He also has a different suit. It almost makes me wonder if it's going to be more like a stealthy, invisible aspect to it. I don't know. I like that he's getting a new suit. I think that's a good move for each Spider-Man movie. It keeps it different, keeps it interesting. It's a new generation watching. He's still Spider-Man. Like, it's not like you're not going to recognize that he's Spider-Man, right? It's not unrecognizable. But I just like that it's a consistent change. I'm curious to see what maybe features to it. Maybe it's less tech. Maybe it's more just specific with certain things with it. I don't know. I'm curious to hear the story behind it.
Yeah, because we know. I mean, we all know what happened to the Iron Spider suit on Infinity War. So whatever happens on the next Avengers is going to, I'd say, impact what the what or why the suit that he's wearing in this movie is the way it is. What you can see is definitely looks like an upgrade suit from the Homecoming suit. And it looks good. It looks good. Like you said, the black. I'm not a super big fan of black on Spider-Man because there's other reasons why black's on Spider-Man, but it's not because of the regular suit. But at the same time, nanomachines, right? That you never know what this suit's gonna have, and it may be changing colors or going invisible or doing some other things that we haven't seen Spider-Man do. So. Very interested to see where this movie is going, and it looks like they're all wrapped up, and we'll see them in about 8 months, I guess.
Isn't that amazing? A movie that comes out next year, done. Marvel's just does not stop. These guys are just gonna keep cranking out movies. Yes, it's in association with Sony, but regardless, it just shows you these guys are prepped.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're not messing around. Like they came in once. You can tell that there was a shift in Marvel movies, and they've always done a great job. But when DC attempted to create their own cinematic universe, there was a shift in Marvel. I was like, yo, this is like, let's take it to the next level. It's like the when Batman vs Superman was coming out, and then we got hit with freaking Civil War. It's like, no, it's like we're in it to win it. We're not playing around. It's like, we're not going to compete. We're not going. It's like, competing's not our. It's not what we're in business. We're gonna win.
Well said. Well said. I completely agree.
No, seriously. We'll talk about competing here in a second too. But just moving right along with Spider-Man news. Joel, you get a good glimpse of Black Cat coming to Spider-Man PS4?
Yep, Black Cat coming to Spider-Man PS4, a new DLC story mode coming in. Basically, they're gonna kind of play on that love triangle between Peter and Mary, and then Felicia Hardy, and I can't wait to play it. I'm pretty excited to get my hands on my DualShock and play this game. This mode when it comes out. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. It's cool that they've already adding more content, more interesting content to this game. This game is already a massive success, so keep pulling people back into it. I'm sure right now, Obed, these guys are already working on the next Spider-Man PS4 game. I'm sure. Like, There's these guys are making so much money. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Insomniac's going to be the Spider-Man studio from now on, at least for the next 5 years, because I will definitely get a second one. And Insomniac's going to be the Spider-Man, that's known as the Spider-Man guys now.
Absolutely.
It's and this DLC pack is coming along with 3 more suits. I don't know if you saw them.
I did.
It's the Scarlet Spider version 2 enhanced suit, and I think it's like British Spider or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope, and they actually have a lot of very specific meanings in the comics, from the Clone Saga and some other pretty cool events that happened. So I'm like, all right, you guys are getting me a little sweaty here with these costumes.
Getting the nerd out of Joe. Getting all sweaty over there. But yeah, I mean, this game's gonna have some really good content, and we're absolutely going to see a sequel to this, most likely, Joel, sooner than later on a next generation console.
Yeah.
Because apparently, based on LinkedIn postings from PlayStation, Sony is hiring I guess a marketing director for their next gen initiative. Which to me speaks to 2 things, Joel. One, this is definitely no, I'm not gonna say definitely, but probably coming in a lot sooner than we anticipated.
Absolutely.
I think that if you're going to hire a marketing director, someone to be in charge of your marketing campaign for your next gen device. We're in mid-October, 3rd week of October. Say you hire this person in the 2nd week of November, right? So this person starts in November. You have to come up with a reasonable marketing campaign, right? For a device that's coming out, but it's already a well-established brand. I don't think you need more than a year, to be honest with you. So I think that we're going to hear about PS5 sometime in the first 6 months of 2019, and it's going to be either a late 2019 release or an early 2020 release. I'm still hoping it's late 2020 or fall 2020, because there's so much coming out, but at the same time, it's like we're getting there, right? Where The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding are the last 3 big games that are coming out. They've been announced for Ghost of Tsushima for a little over a year, I believe. Death Stranding's been announced since 2016, and The Last of Us 2 as well. So we're getting to the point where this game's can come out next year, and after that, what's next? What's next will be your next gen device, and it wouldn't surprise me. And I believe I mentioned it on the podcast, and I mentioned this to you as well, that it wouldn't surprise me that Death Stranding is a cross-gen game, much like the Phantom Pain was when it came out. It came out for the current gen and the new gen consoles. So, man, I don't think I'm ready. It's like, if this is true, I need to start saving up because anything can happen.
Absolutely. When you start talking about next gen, I start to think about, who shoots first, right? Like, it's very much about the game of chess and checkers going into the official announcement of this is our next system. When you're talking about any of the main console creators out there, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. So from Sony's aspect, we've been talking about all the rumors and all the specs and the development cycles going on right now for their console, but it's very clear that when you start putting out things like somebody who's going to be in charge of the marketing and the publicity of this new console, it's very clear to me that they know what their console is. They're very solid on the direction that they're going. Now they just need someone to communicate it and sell it.
They have finalized specs, basically.
Exactly. So that means they're much further along than most of us realize. This is not rumors. This is concrete when you have a posting like this coming out from Sony PlayStation. So I'm taking this the same way you said, Obed. 6 months into the new year, you'll have an announcement. I still don't think with certainty, I'm like split at a 50-50 that it comes out 2019. I'm split on that. I don't know. I can easily see them saying they announce it, June, let's just say for the sake of conversation, June of 2019, and then you can have it in your house June of 2020. I can easily see that being the case. Like a full, hey, this is pre-marketing, and then this is going to be marketing campaign for the year of, from 2019 going to 2020. I can easily see that being the case. I think that Sony is in some ways over prepared for their next console because they've had so much success and are having so much finances flooding them from this PlayStation 4 and all the experience and things that they've learned, that they already know what they want to do. And so it's like they can either go really slow or they can really speed it up. But I just think there's no need to speed it up. So I'm not getting too excited yet about a sooner release date. I just think it's just the announcement is at hand.
I think I'm man. So I started looking back, right? The original PS1. And I'm talking about the original PlayStation, original PS1. Of course, it's the original. But when the PS1 came out, it came out in late '94 in Japan. And I believe summer '95 in North America and Europe. I think a couple of months later. PS2 came out in 2000 in Japan, in late 2000 in the US. PS3 came out 2006. If you've noticed, it's every 6 years. And the previous generation of consoles were outliers because they came out at a time where it was a very uncertain time. We're talking about when talking about the economy, when talking about where technology was going, emerging tech. This was, there was a cultural shift at that time as well because of TV changed.
Yes.
A lot of things changed. We got HD TVs, we got Blu-rays, we got a lot of stuff that happened. So while consumers were getting we're adopting this new tech. This is where this consoles started, taking off. The best example is the PS3, which took 3 years for the console to actually take off. When everyone's adopted, HD TVs, when they got affordable. Because what we don't realize right now is like the time we're living right now is great, right? You can go to Best Buy, you can go to Best Buy with $300 and walk out with a 55-inch, TV. It could be a TCL or whatever. I mean, but something. Joel, I remember when I bought my HDTV because I wanted to get a PS3. I ended up paying. It was a Westinghouse brand TV, which was garbage, and this was back in early 2007, and this was a 32-inch TV with one HDMI port, and I paid $750 for that TV back then, which is this is ridiculous. It's when you think about it.
That was a good deal at the time.
At the time it was, yeah, absolutely. But right now, technology's out there. We don't have to wait for TVs to catch up to consoles to get the next gen. On the contrary, TVs actually are way ahead right now. I mean, with Dolby Vision and the 4K again. I mean, not every game is still native 4K. There's very few games that are on both platforms, on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. But there's tech that needs to be that needs content, and I see this as both Sony and Microsoft saying we need to fill out this tech with content. We need to go ahead and move ahead. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm like you. I'm like 50-50. But so it wouldn't surprise me that next November they're both out. Like Scarlet, whatever. Yeah. So whatever Scarlet is and whatever the next gen, we're calling it PS5 because we're assuming it's going to be called that. Yeah, more than likely it will. That's going to happen. If that's the case, man, start saving up. Because I don't think these things are going to be super affordable. I think they're going to be around the $500 price range. Joel's making it rain over there.
Just throwing that money out there at Sony.
Yeah. That I usually wait. I'm gonna wait about a year after it comes out because I want to see what sort of content they are going to put on the console. The only way,
it's amazing launch titles.
I was gonna say if Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a launch title, which I doubt because Horizon just came out a year ago, and well apparently Guerrilla Games actually, Joe, posted a some job listings looking for people for crunch time. So they're crunching on a game right now. Speculation is that it's a new like shooter franchise, but we'll see. But yeah, if something like that, like Horizon 2 comes out, which I doubt. I mean, it's only been not even 2 years that Horizon came out. It's such a fantastic game, and it took them 6 years to make. If something like that comes out, then I would probably consider getting one on day one. If not, I'm willing to wait a year until there's more content. And I think they should release it whenever they feel comfortable and whenever they have content for it. Because, I mean, I can take advantage of it because, if it'll, based on what we've heard, it'll function as a, PS4 Pro of sorts where you can put your games and your games are going to get, the high res or the higher res assets and all that stuff, and patch for 4K and HDR and all this good stuff. So if that's the case, sure. I mean, if I can have my PS4 games running at legit 4K, that'd be great. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you. It's specs, features, and more specifically than any of those things combined is the launch titles. That's what's going to do it. You can announce the best, most powerful console, but those titles are always key. And that's all I'm going to say there.
We saw, yeah. You just threw it out there, Joel. It's like no mercy.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
No mercy from Joel. Jill, speaking of No Mercy, Call of Duty just completely demolished PUBG, and yeah, so Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out, and that blackout mode is killing it, Joel. I went and checked over the weekend just to see how they were doing. It's like, I wonder how these guys are doing on Twitch. And when I saw that in the US they had more than double the amount of Fortnite viewers, I was like, oh, it's done. It's like RIP PUBG, and Fortnite better watch it. Because talk about coming in to win it too, man. And I had mentioned it to you. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or offline. That I told you, it's like if there's any franchise that can actually compete against Fortnite, it's Call of Duty. And
yeah, I think it was off the record because you and I were having a whole Fortnite conversation for sure, and I remember you saying that, and here we are.
Yeah, man, and people are loving it. Like this is, I was like, oh, this is like good PUBG, like what PUBG was supposed to be, right? Because they PUBG has had a very slow drip of new content coming out. Like there's a couple things here and there. There's 2 new maps and all that, but at the same time, they're not having this crazy events that Fortnite's having and all this adding content that Fortnite has. And they definitely lagged behind, man. And now here comes Call of Duty, man. It's like there's only place for 2 of us, so I'm taking your spot, and just completely kicked PUBG out of the picture. So what do you think about PUBG right now, Joel? What can they do to bring it back?
I mean, I feel like they have a household name, so that's always something to go off of, right? The creators of Fortnite, right? So they've got something to hang their heads on, but they can't, at the same time, they can't rely on past success for future endeavors. They have to understand that Fortnite was a lightning in the bottle situation, but in order for them to continue to thrive, they have to keep their eye on their competitors, but also put something new out that it doesn't just work, but it has some type of innovation to it. I think it's fine that Call of Duty comes in and levels the playing field, because I think competition only inspires more creativity.
Sparks innovation, yeah.
It does. It sparks innovation. So it's going to require PUBG, if they're smart, they're going to say, we're not going to put out Fortnite 2. We're going to put out something that still keeps this, massive multiplayer, world kind of gameplay, but still add an extra layer of innovation. What that is, I don't know, because that's not my realm. Yeah. Per se, but I'll keep an eye on. I'm not gonna say it's over for PUBG. It's over from a Fortnite perspective of being the one. Call of Duty comes right back in. That's an established franchise. Obit. I mean, it's been a household name for so long. That Black Ops. I mean, it's the hot thing, right? So it's a good thing to have this kind of competition right now.
Yeah, I think what could save PUBG is release on PS4 and release it on PlayStation Plus for free, and announce that it'll have crossplay. That's I think that would be the only move that I see that could definitely bring some new life to PUBG, because where it stands right now, the game doesn't run well, the game doesn't look well. Compare that to like Call of Duty, which looks phenomenal.
Be careful a little bit. They're coming for you.
Oh,
I hear the footsteps.
I hear the footsteps of the PUBG people. I mean, they know what's up. they know what's up. They're I think there's very few PUBG loyalists. We've seen that on Twitch already. People turn on each other and all that. But the thing, definitely, I mean, if PUBG releases on PS4 for free on PS Plus, and they say that the game's going to have crossplay, that's probably going to help alleviate some of the problems that they're having right now. And they need new content, man. They need to make the game fun. I was like, I know that they're trying to be this serious, military thing or survival thing, but look at what Fortnite did. They just have cartoony characters, and the game runs better, looks nicer because it's bright and colorful.
Yep.
And then Call of Duty is just quality, man. When it comes to like gameplay and graphics, so
They're
they
totally different.
oh yeah, absolutely. So they definitely need to bring it. If they want to bring it, I mean, they could still be that third weird thing that Cliffy B wanted to do with like Radical Heights and the other game that failed miserably. So you know that could definitely be a possibility for PUBG. There could be a PUBG renaissance, but they have the money. I don't know why they haven't invested into making it better. It's baffling, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. And Joe, we'll let's talk about a little bit about what I believe this came out last week, but we didn't get a chance to talk about, and it was a quote from one of the developers on Red Dead Redemption 2. His name's Sam. Sam Hauser. Is actually one of the founders of Rockstar, and they were talking about the development of Rockstar. I'm sorry, Red Dead Redemption 2, and how much they've invested in this game, and they wanted to make it the biggest game ever made, and all this stuff, which is fine. They can, if they have the resources, which they do, to make a project as ambitious as this game is. The game's been in development for 7 years, Joe. So if they have the resources, the staff, and the talent to make this masterpiece of a game, because there's no doubt that this game's going to be phenomenal. Absolutely, go ahead. But they caught fire because they offhanded talk about employees having to crunch and work 100-hour weeks, and giving it, sacrificing themselves to make this happen and all this stuff. So we're not going to go into details and the clarification and all that, because the Hauser said it's like, oh, I think that that came out wrong. It's like myself and some of the like team leads have been working 100-hour weeks for 3 weeks. It hasn't been for years. They tried to clarify it, but the truth of the matter is that Joel, crunch is a real thing, and it is, in my opinion, a real problem in the gaming industry. We've known some people that we have a local EA studio, right? And we've heard the stories about people having to stay in the office in sleeping bags during crunch and all this crazy stuff. It's like it's like they won't let him go home and all this stuff. We've heard stories, right? So it doesn't surprise me that in the case of Rockstar, they're actually pushing employees to work 100-hour weeks. That's like 16-hour days for straight, no days off. It's kind of insane, Joe. I mean, you and I put pretty long hours at work. We may get upwards to maybe 50, 52 hours maybe on a given week, if that.
I mean, it's like there's always gonna be work to be done, so I don't want to slight on the company, because I get it. This is I don't want to like take shots at Rockstar necessarily. I just think it's a conversation more of like you're saying, the issue of crunch, and there's stuff that happens, and all that, but at the same time, it kind of concerns me about rushing to put a product out, and people making a lot of sacrifices for this thing to come out. And what if it's not the greatest game, Obed? Or what if it is, but these people don't see all the fruits of it necessarily?
That's a big
Both of those things are a little bit got my eyebrows raising a little bit, because it's questions you have to ask yourself when you see these circumstances. You think of the best case scenario. Yeah, it's going to be great, it's going to be awesome, and all this cool stuff, and everybody's going to be so happy, and it's going to be rewarded, and it's going to make them look great, because I'm going to have in my resume, I worked on this amazing, developed this amazing game and all this stuff. But at the same time, it's people's lives and whatnot. And I have a saying that I say often: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And I think that's a problem when you're rushing and the getting ready for something. There could be some hiccups in between. So, again, there's a time for everything. So I'm not trying to come down. There's some people who have to do what they have to do, but at the same time, in this storyline, this circumstance, I'll be watching carefully to see the launch of Red Dead Redemption 2 for sure.
Yeah, I think the like we can all agree, right? They take a little bit too far, in my opinion. I went to school to become a game developer, and once I started talking to people and I started hearing things, and went to a couple of interviews here and there, I decided that it wasn't for me. I was like, you know what? It's probably not going to be for me. I'm going to focus on something else, and I'm going to use the knowledge that I acquired and apply it into something else. These guys are, it's what you said. These guys are sacrificing their lives and even maybe their health, because working 100-hour weeks it's absolutely unhealthy. You don't have enough time to sleep, enough time to spend with, family or friends, enough time to, rest up and free your mind and all these things that we need to do, as humans. So, and that's concerning, when it comes to people's health and this sort of crunch and this crunch mentality and crunch culture around the gaming. We saw this when with Kojima and Metal Gear Solid 5, where it doesn't matter if it's it could be a graphic artist or someone just modeling rocks, or it could be the game director. The stories from Konami from when Metal Gear Solid 5 was coming out, it's like, these guys were like locked in for 8 months inside, the offices that like pretty much couldn't leave. And people were dropping like flies. Kojima quit, and, all these crazy stories that came out of that. So the same goes to Rockstar and other studios here. I'm not, from things that I've heard, there's a couple of studios like Insomniac that employees have said, no, like, this is like legit. Insomniac is probably the best studio to work at. And I heard about some of the Santa Monica guys from Sony and all these guys that have great stories about their studio, which we can understand that. And I also I can definitely say that Microsoft probably takes care of their employees as well. Microsoft is a well-renowned company, one of the best companies to work for. So I'm almost certain. I mean, I don't have concrete evidence of that, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft treats their people with respect. If someone has a story about it, definitely share with us, and we'll like to talk about it. But yeah, it's crazy, and I know that this is a very ambitious title, and that they are, investing a lot of money. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 is the biggest entertainment thing out there, bigger than music and movies and all their video games right now. And to come up with a successor to that, it's it's a big financial risk, because the budget for this game is probably like $300 million or something like that. It has to be something ridiculous. And I totally understand, this is a gigantic financial risk, and I know that they're going to make their money back, but at the same time, they want to have a quality product. It's just not putting the product out there. It's also backing it up with quality, and that's what's all this crunch is about, right? It's like, oh, we need to make sure that we are around all these bugs, and this thing looks great, and this other thing works, and it's hard, I game developers, and it's like whether it be big or small, I respect you, because it's hard. It's a hard job. It's a hard job. It's consuming. It's definitely not for everyone. So I really appreciate. And I know that on the podcast I've knocked on indie games here and there, but you know what? I respect you guys. It's like you guys do, come on. I may not support your product, but I respect what you do, and that's part of it. Um, but we've seen it with a lot of games, and what's unfortunate, Joel, is this is the only industry that has this problem because we don't see crunch in movies, and we don't see crunch in music, like. We don't see crunch in any other entertainment industry. It's just video games. And it's like movies. I was like, oh yeah, we'll delay it. Music. I was like, oh, the CD comes out next week. I mean, because we need to add some more auto tune to someone's voice. It's that. But when it comes to a video game, it's like, no, you guys can't leave because we need to finish this thing. It's crazy. In my opinion, I think it's time for game developers to have some sort of unionization or some sort of like work agreement. It's like I can work up to X amount of hours a week. I can't do anything more than that. Even if you ask me, I can't do it. But forcing people to just stay for 100 hours a week, that's pretty preposterous, man, if you ask me. If it's true, we're not saying it's true. We're saying that based on information that's out there and that's reported, it could be true based on some research that Jason Schreier from Kotaku has been doing. Apparently, this is true. So we're going off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to your point about it being something with gaming. I mean, I know in other industries, there's some crazy stories out there. Some people have different things that happen, things that we may not have even heard of before. People people have stories of different things that they've had to do, just the sacrifices made to get something out there that we would never know about maybe until years later or never at all. So it's a fascinating topic, and like I said to you, I'm going to keep my eyes on what happens is with the product at the end of the day, because a statement like this being said confident, nonchalantly, and then even the follow-up, you're not saying that this guy's not saying that it isn't happening. He's just saying that, it hasn't been happening for years, but, a lot of us have had to make these sacrifices more recently, and it's interesting, when you put something like that out there, because it makes my eyes perk up and see, okay, we'll keep our eyes on what happens with this game. It's, again, a very fascinating topic that I hope other game development studios hear this and listen to it and think about it. And like you said, if it's something that the industry could take note of, maybe it's something that as a whole developers can have this conversation with the right people, and we could see some change happen there where people don't feel this, and we don't hear more of these stories in the gaming space that we hear people going on. Now, mind you, at the same time, we also have to realize as fans, right, it's also our responsibility to not be the kind of people to be throwing a fit.
Oh yeah,
because a game's been delayed by another 2, 3, or even months, or maybe even a year. Like, things happen. Sometimes it's for the better. Things have to be delayed. So we also have to hold ourselves accountable and not be getting all excited and crazy just because something's been delayed, because guess what? It happens. Things happen.
Suck it, man, babies.
Yeah. There it is, Obed. There it is.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, and it's a problem. Like, we saw this when No Man's Sky was coming out, and it got delayed, and it's like, oh, you ruined my life. It's like, well, I'm gonna go find you and stab you because you delayed the game. That is, I mean, that crazy talk. Yeah,
Looney Tunes.
It's like there's absolutely no reason for you to be talking this way.
Yeah,
seriously. There's
it's
like,
dramatic.
It's yeah. I mean, of course, most of the stuff that comes out online, I would say 90% of man babies are fake man babies, and the other 10% are real man babies. It's like they're man babies for it's like, oh yeah, let's join in and say that this thing is terrible, and they ruined my life too. But then there's the other 10% that could be actual like crazy people, and I don't know, like stalkers or whatever. So I don't know, you have to keep this this line right. But at the same time,
it's on the fans. It's also on the developers.
Absolutely.
I think as to collective, there's
It's for the
conversations
community.
to be had. It's
Yeah.
not as simple as everyone might think, but there's definitely some points to it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's like, it's, again, best example is whenever, best example I can give you, Joel, is Capcom. I've always been a big Capcom fan. And for the, I would say from 2000, I want to say 8 to 13, Capcom was just not good. And they were canceling games and doing this weird stuff and coming up with some crazy DLC, antics and all these things that they were coming up with. But it's like, all right, Capcom's not what it used to be, and that's okay. They're doing their own thing, and we'll see what happens, right?
Yep.
That was my reaction.
Yep.
But you saw other people's, Capcom just was like terrible. It's like, it's like more like Crapcom, am I right? And all this stuff, or like people just crying and being babies about it. It's like, but what about now when Capcom's back on track, right? It's like they got Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, and Resident Evil, and Resident Evil 7 released, and all this stuff, and they're at Mega Man 11, so they're giving you what you want and how you want it. Now Capcom's back on track, and now it's like, oh yeah, Capcom's finally back. Okay. So then I was like, all right, I was reasonable enough to give Capcom the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, maybe they'll figure it out later, and they did. So who's to say that companies going through this crunch problem may not figure it out? It's like maybe there'll come a time where you can work your regular hours and and have be satisfied with what you're doing and not having to sleep on your desk on in a sleeping bag because you need to be here at 4 a.m. the next day. So we'll see where it goes. I think this is a whole big old ugly kind of worms that's gonna be open here, Joel. And it's gonna be interesting to see the stories that are gonna come out. So
For sure, keeping our eyes on it.
Absolutely, Joel. That's what I got. If you don't have anything else, man, let's wrap this thing up.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to us here on No Load Time. We always appreciate it, and we want to make sure you stay connected with us. So go ahead and give us a follow on social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We will make sure you subscribe to the show so you get all the latest episodes directly to your device. So go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play. Also, we're on SoundCloud and, of course, here on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe to us. And also, if you're an iTunes subscriber, could you please drop us a review? We greatly appreciate it. We also want to make sure you know that you can always submit feedback, comments, questions to us here at No Load Time. So go ahead and shoot an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you here on our next episode.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you again next time.